And I know he's an incredible person. And for further comments in English, for further discussions, please approach him while we will be having our breaks, because I know he can go and captivate you for hours and hours and hours. Thank you so much. And apologies once again if we slightly reminding you about the timing for our speeches, because we want to stay here for the whole night. But do you? In this case, we can go for hours, but in other way, 5 minutes for each speech, and then I promise we're gonna have some really nice networking breaks where you can go further on the discussion. So let's continue, and I would like to invite on stage Executive Vice President Tony Busan Global, Mr. Arif Anis. The stage is yours.
Ladies, gentlemen, ministers, excellencies, and distinguished guests. I just landed today morning actually after a 37-hour long flight from Australia, so I've just carried these papers so I don't forget my lines. Based upon my recent meeting in the last 6 to 12 months, a founder of some of the biggest companies on the planet, like the founder of Apple, the founder of Booking.com, Waze, the founder of Microsoft, and many, many other people who are somehow shaping this world we are living in. I've got some serious insights from those meetings, and this is something I would like to share with you. What I understood by meeting some of the biggest corporations, founders, and the global movers and shakers is that the world we are living in today is not the world where we are suffering from the lack of cash, the lack of capital. We are not living in a world where we don't have enough capital, but we are actually sitting on the biggest pile of capital in the human history that ever existed. This is what we are doing today. However, we have all the money, but we are deeply missing the direction. All this money is somehow misdirected and not solving the problems we all are facing. We don't have a capital problem, but we have a direction problem. That's why this forum really matters. Under the leadership of Dr. Sadduddin and AGI Holding, the GIF has done something unusual. It has put Europe, the Gulf, Eurasia, and the Caucasus in one room, with the ministers, sovereign and institutional investors, chambers of commerce, family offices, investors, founders, sector leaders ranging from the real estate, energy, logistics, technology, and finance. Now, with all of you here under this room, what are you going to do for the next 3-4 days? I think probably one of the biggest calling that we can have is we're not here to listen. You are here to drive the $200 trillion machine to its next direction. That is the capital which is available, and that's the directionless capital that must find some better destination. We are here in Georgia. The map shouldn't actually fool you, because geography is destiny, and you are standing on a pivot point here in this country. Georgia is just not another country. It is a corridor, a bridge economy in a broken world. To the west, the European Union. To the south, the Gulf. To the east, the sleeping giants of Central Asia. We see a global slowdown in FDI almost everywhere. But here, we see the future being prototyped. Hydropower, logistics, resilience. Georgia is just not a backdrop, but that is a blueprint. The world is watching. But we're not here just to praise the location. We're here to price the risk. 3 trends, 3 realities, and 3 warnings. That's what I bring to you. Now, the first trend, or the first trap, or the first warning is the liquidity trap. Right now, in the developed world, we are all drowning in liquidity, but starving the impact. As our first speaker very rightly pointed to, we are starving an impact. Here is the paradox of 2025. Assets under management are soaring. Productivity investment is snoring. That is at sleep. We built a financial system where huge pools of capital sit in private bunkers, while the real economy begs for water. We see capital retreating from developing market, yet rising in the most vulnerable economies right now. The question is, why? Because need drives the yield. That just proves that whole concept. But the danger is clear, and that's exactly what I want to point out. If we do not align the private rules with public needs, we get a terrifying result. Smart portfolio and a broken planet. Exactly that we just talked about. Huge portfolios, but a broken, unlivable planet. So you can't have a AAA rating, Moody's AAA rating, in a failing society. So what I bring to you is with an insight that the bunker capital dies while the bridge capital multiplies. So the capital shouldn't be staying in the bunker, but it should be building bridges. And that's why we are here in Georgia. The second trend and the second warning. AI. We have been hearing, talking, consuming this more than enough. But AI is just not a code, it is concrete. Let's stop treating AI just like another software on our mobile phone. In fact, it is an infrastructure super cycle. The numbers don't lie. $1.5 trillion invested up to December 2025. $7 trillion projected in capex by 2030 in the next 5 years. But here's one liner for your notebooks. We're building the brain, but we are forgetting the body. And that's one thing I would want our request of our participants to look at, improve, and raise those questions. Morgan Stanley, it warns of the huge gap of $1.7 trillion in funding. Which one? It's just AI-related funding. We are rushing to build data centers, but missing the power grids, the land rights, and the credit markets to sustain them. We're just building the plumbing without the payoff. The hard question is not who has the best algorithm, but that is who owns the socket. And anyone who owns the socket in AI would be definitely leading the whole drive. So if we are not investing into the physical rails or infrastructure of the AI, we are effectively pricing the future at zero. And the third trend, and the last one, before I wind up, the silent revolution. And this is exactly His Excellency Noam Chomsky mentioned. The tree we have been all decaying. And what a great start, actually, by his out-of-the-box observation. Let's forget the political noise around the ESG. That's a good thing to do, something really nice looking, all those nice looking phrases and all those forums and global summits. Look at the ledger. And based upon the ledger, sustainable funds are right now outperforming the traditional ones. You might be shocked that tokenized assets are growing 40% a year right now. Financing becoming digital, fractional, and transparent. Sustainability is no longer a political slogan. It is a survival strategy. We don't have another choice. The fight is no longer about green versus growth. It is about resilience versus ruin. How do we write the term sheets that don't just move money, but actually move the needle? And that's exactly a question mark. While I'm closing this one, all the great minds, the thought leaders, the investors, the founders, the influencers, I urge you and I challenge you to answer the question that I hear from the CEOs from Silicon Valley to sovereign funds almost all the time. Where is my capital safe? And the answer is brutal. Safety is an illusion. Impact is the only insurance. Capital is only safe if the future is stable. And the future is only stable if the capital is courageous. If the capital is not in bunkers, but it has the courage to solve the real life problems. So, when we are leaving this hall, we are leaving with 4 mandates. Let's not build a bunker, let's build a bridge. Stop funding the past. Invest in the inevitable, that's the future. Third, forget the flows, fix the foundation, because only then we can rise. And fourth, let's make our capital courageous. If we do that, we don't just survive the next decades, we actually own it. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Arif, for such a